Well, top of the morning to ya. That's all I'm doing for British accents today. That's all I got. That's all you get. Thankfully, I'm gonna stop. Maybe I won't. We're making something nice and British today. We are making something that I've wanted to try my entire life and never once have tried. We're gonna try to make some fish and chips today. Oh, I didn't even see you there. We're gonna make fish and chips today because I was browsing through YouTube, and wouldn't you know it, their wonderful, sometimes random and seemingly relentless recommended algorithm just popped up this video for me. And the video was called Making Fish and Chips with Celery Root. I'll give you a second to digest that because yeah, celery root. I watched the video, super interesting. I think I was probably amongst the majority who watched that video. In watching it, you're thinking, there's no way this is gonna actually taste like fish and chips. Sure enough, a bunch of the chef's friends try it and they're all blown away at how much it tastes like fish from fish and chips. So I'm thinking, okay, this is right up my alley because this is just complete food fraud if I've ever seen it, and I am all about that, okay? So we are going to recreate fish and chips with no fish, yes, with chips, and we are gonna use something really crazy. It's called celeriac or celery root, or technically, I don't know if it's the same thing, but what I know is that this is the same thing as celery. It's just made or grown for different reasons or uses. So on the top, you can really kind of tell, it looks just like the ends of celery, just smaller. And then this, I don't know what the fuck that looks like because I've never seen anything like it, but it's dirty. I got it at Whole Foods. I was looking around. I was glad I could actually find it. So we're gonna turn that into a nice, beautiful British spread of fish and chips. Before me, I have a bunch of different liquids, all going to serve a purpose in the marinade that is going to turn a celery root into fake fish. We're gonna just go for this, okay? Sometimes you gotta go for this. Here's a couple things to keep in mind, okay? Number one, you're gonna need some time for this one. You're gonna need about 2 days or like 8 hours, but I'm just splitting this up into filming it in 2 days so I can maintain some level of sanity. Not that I already have some now, but just pretending I do. Another thing that you want to keep in mind, this recipe requires beer. So here we go, baby. Let's get the party started. Where's everyone going? Why are you leaving? If beer is not your thing, I suppose you could use club soda, because I think the main reason why you're having the beer, aside from the lager flavor that we're going for in the beer batter, is the bubbles. It adds to the light and fluffiness of the crisp on the fry when you cook the fish in oil. So get your beer ready, get your celery root ready. What even is this? I don't know, but we're gonna try to turn it into something delicious. I was laughed at in the produce section for grabbing that. I don't know. Some people just like to judge what I buy. That's fine. Anyway, we're here now, so let us do it to them all together. We're making fish and chips, baby. The video I watched, which by the way, this all came from one video, and I'm gonna link it below. It's a really good video. Super creative and fun, and this is like exactly the type of recipe that I like to take on, because while sometimes you slip on a proverbial banana peel into a failed pulled pork recipe, other times you're able to create something wonderful and almost magical with an ingredient that you never would have thought of. So I'm hoping that this is the latter, and all we can do is, like we know how to do really well on this channel, is try our best. So we have the celery root. The first step we're gonna do is, before we touch this, we're gonna preheat the oven to 400. So do that, or just light a fire somewhere till it gets to be 400 degrees. And I'm gonna do 2 of these. Why, you might be asking? I don't know. I'm just excited about the recipe. So I am going to, whoa. Looks kind of like inside of a coconut a little bit. I'm just gonna slice off this skin as thinly as I can, because we want to keep most of the meat intact. And once we are done slicing the skin off of this, we're gonna give it a nice little wash because it is dirty. And so basically the method that we're gonna be trying for this in turning this rather hard fruit vegetable into a delicious savory meat substitute is by cooking it with a little bit of seasoning and olive oil to where it gets soft. And then once it is soft, we are going to marinate it for a long time, like 6 to overnight hours. I'm not doing the greatest job of cutting thin pieces off, but I'm doing a job. All right, we have our 2 naked layers of food right here, and we are going to just go clear off this cutting table of dirt. Now we're gonna cut these into the shape of our fish fillets or our circles of fish for the fish and chips. So I'm thinking we'll start at the top. That one's not gonna work. So we're gonna do, I think, between 2 and 3 inch rounds. That looks like 2 inches. This should work. The next one will be a little bigger because it's closer towards the center. It's got some jagged edges, but it seems to be working. Okay, so that's what, about like 5 usable pieces. We'll cut into the next one. There's 1. There's 2. So this is what we're looking for here. This is just bizarre. They're like super hard. They're dense. They're not, you know, I'm sure they have no flavor. Should I taste one just because I'm here? I really hope it doesn't end up tasting like that. That is bad. So we're going to put our fish fillets in here. And okay, so actually put that off to the side for a sec. We are gonna take our stash of nori. If you're a sushi fan like myself, you have some in the house. If you're not, you're gonna need to go buy some. This is the good stuff. This is what you make sushi with. It is seaweed, AKA nori. So we're gonna take maybe like a square, I think like 2 squares, and we are going to dice it up nice and fine because this is going to give us a seafood flavoring that we are looking for. I'm literally gonna use this to prop my camera up. There we go. Look at that. Who needs a tripod? All right, so we're gonna take the nori and this is also a recipe that I'm pretty confident Jenna will not be liking. She might have some of the chips part of this recipe, but I don't think she'll want to have any of the fish because the taste of seafood to her or the smell of it just kind of repulses her. So I'm just gonna have to trust in my own judgment that this dish is how I perceive it, and hopefully that will be good. Anyway, so we have this kind of like mess of nori here chopped up. We're gonna use that. We're actually gonna need a little bit more later. You know, I'm wondering if I should open a new batch of it because I wonder if the crispiness of the nori kind of has faded in my batch. So let's open this new. I got a safety supply of it. Okay, this one seems definitely, you can even hear it in the sound. Yeah, the new stuff is pretty damn good. Anyway, so to get this ready, we're gonna get some olive oil in the bowl here. Get them nice and oiled up, ready for the seasoning. In addition to the olive oil, we're gonna take some sea salt. And now we're also gonna add the nori. Make a big mess while you're doing it. Now we're gonna get our hands dirty and just really try to coat these pieces and everything. Yeah, we just want to even coat here. So every little piece has some oil on it, some salt on it, a little bit of nori, And this is just for the preliminary cook to soften these bad boys up. They look pretty evenly coated to me. I'm going to grab our pan and start laying these out. Yeah, I definitely went a little crazy with the nori, but you know, sushi fans, you guys know, you know. There we go. We have room for about one more. And there we go. I'm gonna go wash my hands. BRB. Anyway, don't spill your lemon juice like I almost just did. We're gonna take this sheet of cut up celery root, nice and seasoned and oiled, and we're gonna put it in the oven at 400 degrees for about 25 minutes. So let us do that. I just realized I might have offended our beloved and my favorite Jacksepticeye, as well as all the other Irish women and men out there, for saying top of the morning to you as an English saying. That's Irish, isn't it? What's an English saying that I could say and butcher really bad and embarrass myself too? Here we go, are you ready? Here I'm gonna take it again. I'm real chuffed to be making this recipe. In it, I'm just gonna disappear. We're done with the first part here. Now we need to make the marinade, okay? The marinade is what's gonna make this taste like fish. So for said marinade, we are going to take, and also I don't have exact measurements, so you're gonna just have to eyeball like how much I'm using, because I don't even know if this is right, but a good bunch of vegetable or canola oil, some extra virgin olive oil, some rice wine vinegar. Again, as a sushi fan, I always keep some in the house. This is probably the weirdest ingredient I've ever used. No, I've used way weirder. What am I saying? This is an odd ingredient that you might have. It is caper brine. So it is the juice or the liquid in a jar of capers. You can use a decent amount of that. We have, I don't know, about a third cup of lemon juice. In addition, we have some of this really beautiful Pinterest looking lemon zest. And of course we have some sugar. So we have all of the ingredients now in the bowl. This is what we're gonna marinate in. So before we get a little crazy, I'm just gonna whisk this together. This is likely gonna separate when I'm done whisking it because there's oil and lemon juice that will separate, I think. Oh, also you wanna add the remaining shredded nori bits. So just gonna put that in here. These will obviously soften up and just sort of add, again, to the seafood type flavor we're going for. That is that. Now we need to move on to the chips, which you're wondering, I know you're wondering because I'm in your head, is I thought we were doing the rest of this recipe tomorrow. Why would you get the chips ready today? Well, I'm here to answer that question, okay? And the answer is, I would rather do it tomorrow too, but there's 2 steps to the chips process here. I looked up a proper way to make, you know, English style chips, as we call them, fries, but I'm trying to stay as on brand as I can here with this meal. So we are gonna take our potatoes and we are going to cut, slice, wash, and boil them today till they're very soft, and then we're gonna put them in the fridge overnight while we let this marinate. So we're having 2 things kind of get ready while we, you know, go to our beds and sleep, do whatever else we do. Hopefully what that will yield, and what I've been told by the video I watch, is that it will make the fries or the chips just that much more crispy and crunchy and golden and wonderful, which is what we're going for. So we need to prepare our potatoes. So let us use our pasta arm. Sorry, I've always wanted to do that. And we're gonna add some salt to this water. Be very generous with the salt. And we're gonna start boiling this, let that go. And now, get out of here. We have some chips to make. As with every recipe that's not from literally where I'm from, I'm prepared to offend someone some way, but I'm gonna do my best to not do that. I don't know if you like your chips with the skin on, but I'm gonna take most of the skin off. I'm not gonna be super crazy about hitting every spot, because from what I've read and seen, some places and some people like to have their chips with the skin on. So I'm gonna sort of meet you in the middle here, leave a little bit on. This just looks like I'm doing a really shitty job, which I guess is pretty accurate. So I watched a Gordon Ramsay video, as most of us do and have, and He uses much smaller potatoes. I think they're red potatoes, but I couldn't find any the size I wanted at the store. So, but the method he uses is he cuts it in half, and then he cuts that same piece in half twice one more time. So he halves it, and then he quarters the half, I think. So here we go. What is that? What the hell? Okay, these don't have a weird secret in the middle like this one does. Like, what is that? What are you hiding from me? Hello? It's like one of those old phones. Hello? I'm an idiot sandwich. We're gonna watch them. I was gonna say they've touched my ears, but I'm just gonna try to cut around this imperfection. I don't even know what to call it. Like, what is that? I've never seen that. I'm gonna cut around it, and I'm gonna throw out the middle piece because I don't have time for that. And I'm again gonna half the halves, and we wanna make these as even as possible because we want them to cook evenly. And I'm gonna cut these in half at an angle, so it's sort of like that. So I'm just gonna use, hopefully that kind of maintains the shape we're looking for. I'm gonna throw out some of the pieces that are small and that I don't like. Completely just choosing and picking what I like here. Cut the half in half and cut that half once more. That sounded like a Dr. Seuss rhyme. I mean, these are thick boys. Like, is this too big for a fry or a chip? I feel like it is. That seems better. That seems like a more appropriate size. That is what she said when she was making chips in the kitchen during her fish and chips episode of cooking. Making like fraud fries, which I guess makes sense because I'm making a fraud meal here. All right, well, we kind of have a different array of sizes. Hopefully they're close enough though in size that they'll cook at a relatively similar rate. We're gonna take a strainer here and pop them all in here because rule number one, when you're making potatoes and you want them to be good and crispy, you have to clean off all the starch. So we're gonna go rinse this under some tap water for like a minute and a half, 2 minutes. And then we're gonna toss it in the hot boiling water and get moving. It's your boy, the guy who forgot to set the timer for the oven. So let's check on these celery roots. They still seem a bit firm and dense on the middle of some of them. I'm gonna let them go for like 5 more minutes. See, we're fine. Who needs a timer? Okay, so we have maybe a little bit more time left with the potatoes. And again, I wanted to emphasize the recipe I'm following to make these, you want them to almost be falling apart. So this one's still firm enough to hold its position. Like, they're definitely getting softer, but once you start to panic and they look like they're actually falling apart, that's when we want to take them out and chuck them in the fridge. Never tried this method. It might work, it might not, but just reiterating that detail I think is important. So a little bit more time on that. Okay, so we're working on the fries. I'm taking out the smaller pieces early because the bigger pieces haven't started to crumble yet. But I believe it is time to take out celery root. She crispy. Oh yeah, these seem like the perfect consistency. I've stabbed a few holes in them to check how well they're done. But at the same time, I'm also trying to give little pockets for the marinade to seep in. So I'm gonna let those cool for a sec, then we're gonna put them in the marinade, bag them up, and chuck them in the fridge to sleep, a good night's sleep, and we'll pick them up in the morning. As for the fries, these, you know, I'm getting a little nervous because I don't want these all to fall apart, so they're not fully crumbling, but like the edges are kind of getting destroyed and some of them are breaking in half. So I think I'm doing it right. I just don't want to push it too far. So I'm going to take the rest of these out, put them on the rack to dry, and then these will go in the fridge as well. This is a cool method. I'm actually excited to see how these chips come out because I do love making homemade French fries or chips, even when I'm not making recipes. It's just something I like to do because they always come out better than, most of the time they come out better than the store. I'm going to slide gently these potato wedges onto our parchment paper, sort of spread them out a little bit, but again, be gentle, you don't want them to break. Promptly chuck them in the fridge. See you guys in the moment. Okay, now that that is done, we are going to just whisk together this marinade and pop these pieces in here. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do our very best at trying to pour the contents of this bowl into a plastic bag to marinate. Here we go. Oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God. It didn't completely destroy itself, yay. And we're gonna put it in a bowl, the bag inside the bowl rather, just in case of any sort of leaks or anything like that. And just try to make sure all the pieces are somewhat submerged. I will tell you that the smell I'm getting from these being soaked in the marinade is definitely like a fishy smell in a good way. It tastes very nice. So this is it. This is the marinade. We're gonna leave this in there for 6 hours to overnight, depending on how much time you have or want to dedicate to this recipe. So I'll see you guys in the morning for some fish and chips. Get excited about your laugh. Okay, it's a new day. Happy welcome to the new day. This is the time when we get to finish this recipe, okay? I was up all night thinking to myself, will this recipe be worth it? Is it gonna taste like fish? What am I doing with my life? No, I'm just kidding. I fell asleep watching a Married at First Sight. I wasn't up all night. Anyway, we have our fillets of soon-to-be fried fish and battered, marinating. And I flipped it about halfway through, like late last night I flipped it, so it had a chance to really kind of get the marinade everywhere. I don't know, I think we just try this. So we're gonna set this aside and we need to get some oil in our pot for frying. So we're gonna pour some oil in here. We're definitely gonna need more. Always gotta have an extra thing of oil. Always, dude. You never know when you're gonna have an emergency frying requirement situation happen where you're gonna need oil. So the idea here is I'm going to batter and fry our fish first. And once that's done, we'll fry our chips or our French fries in the same oil, hopefully to give a little bit of that flavor to the chips. This looks good. I'm gonna turn the heat on. Also, I hope that this machine isn't giving feedback to my mic because I think every time I turn it on, I see comments that is causing problems. So I hope it's not. I'm gonna try to stand a little bit away from it. We're gonna try to get this to about like 400 degrees, I think. Anyway, over here I have cornstarch and a flour mixture with baking soda and salt added. And this is what we're going to be using to make our fish and chips. So basically we're gonna take our little circles of celery, coat it in some cornstarch, and then turn this into a batter with beer. Are you ready for that? Let's do that. So you're gonna want a lager for this recipe. So I have myself one right here. So I'm gonna pour a little bit of beer in here. Actually, first we gotta, ooh, that's good. I'm gonna pour a little bit at a time. And the goal is to kind of just turn this into a nice, bubbly beer batter for our fish. I could be using a bigger whisk, But I, for some reason, enjoy smaller whisks. Don't tell me what to do. Okay, fine, I'll use the bigger whisk. Jeez. Still is actually a little bit thick. We might need to crack another lager for this. Yeah, it's definitely a little thick still, so let's grab another. Again, I'm not complaining that I have to pop open some beer for a food recipe. Just so you can kind of see what the mixture is looking like. Oh, got a little in the cornstarch. Everything's fine. Maybe just a touch more. Yeah, it's looking like pretty good consistency here. Yeah, it's almost like a pancake batter. Yeah, I think our batter is done here. Pours more beer. Still not even 200 Fahrenheit. We wanted to get pushing, I think like over 3 is what we want. I don't know what I said before, but I'm pretty sure over 300 degrees is ideal. I'm going to take our first little bit of celery and drop it in the cornstarch. And because we're cultured and fancy individual, oh God, this is a bad idea. I was gonna say because we're cultured and fancy, we use chopsticks, but I'm just gonna try to coat this a little bit. Get a nice, even, starchy coat on here. I'm so nervous about this. I don't know if it's gonna work. I don't know what it's gonna taste like. Anyway, we're gonna wanna cook these around 3 to 4 minutes and try to be as even as possible with how you're crisping them up. So, you know, maybe like flip them halfway through or just kind of move it around. I got this. How hot are we? How hot are we? 235. Remember, if all of this crashes and burns, at least we tried our best. But I actually have high hopes for this. I do think, you know, I haven't tasted the actual celery today after it's been marinating, but it definitely feels different. It's like soft. You can tell it's been like infused with the flavor of the marinade, which is really nice because that marinade is exactly what we're looking for. Also, don't forget in the fridge we have our chips that are cooling from yesterday. So they're firm and they're ready to fry. Those are gonna be real quick, easy to fry those. This is always the worst part, just waiting for the oil to heat. 240, 250. I guess while we wait, I mean, that is good. We also have some vinegar that we are gonna be serving our chips with because that is how you do it. I'm gonna grab a fork. All right, we're doing it to them. Here we go. Taking number 1 and we are going to coat it in the batter. Give it a nice beer bath. Ooh, a beer bath. That sounds nice. Can I have a beer bath? I'm gonna pierce it, let it drip for a sec. And in we go. And on to the next one. Oh God, this one's breaking because I keep piercing it. I'm just gonna use my fingers on this one. All right, now I just gotta get my fry on, so I don't know. Let's do it to him or something. We have arrived at our final product, fish and chips. I don't really know what to say. It's a little bit crazy to see because it looks exactly like fish and chips, as you can see. I mean, every picture I've seen of this dish. Looks very similar to this. Maybe the chips are a bit fucked because I'm a bad chef, but I'm gonna try a chip actually. Oh my God, that is good. Never mind, I'm a great chef. That was really good. We have some vinegar. Put a little drop on this one because I don't want to get it on the whole pile. Wow. That is really good. That adds a whole new flavor to this dish. Now it's the moment of truth. I already cut into a couple of the pieces of fish, and as you can see, it's super flaky, but it's like juicy, it's flaky. It's actually a little bit bizarre how much this is behaving like a battered and fried piece of fish. That's celery. Wow, that is wild. You know what? I'm like weirdly confident that that tastes very similar to fish. And again, I've never had this before. Made of celery or fish, I've never had it. But I like, something about this marinade really nailed it. Like it has that tang to it, but it also has like that meaty texture. This is on point, dude. This tastes so good. Oops. Oh my God. This is fish and chips. I don't know what to say. This is fish and chips. How did celery root turn into fish and chips? Like how? How? Like it has that like meat-ish, stringy, flaky texture that like sort of jackfruit has sometimes. Also, it's super crispy. I probably could have done a better job frying it. Here's another piece. This is a little baby piece. I can open this right here. That's celery, y'all. How is that celery? It's like savory, delicious, tangy. I don't know. It's very bizarre how this worked. Like, I wonder who figured this out. Like, were they walking by the celery root and thinking, why does that even exist? And then they tried this? I mean, come here. Okay, so here's the thing. We've tried hiring you over and over. Not only have you embezzled food from the company, but you now owe Jenna money. So, we'll give you another shot because you need to make some money so you can pay her back. Okay? I need you to taste test this for me, okay? How is that? Is that ready to serve to a customer? Do you want some fish? Does that taste like fish? Are we gonna fool them? I need some feedback here if you're gonna work here. Hello? Hi. We'll think about keeping her on board. I honestly, I'm very, very impressed by how this worked out. And I love this recipe because it's super outside the box. Like, we're not talking about tofu or seitan or other traditional meat substitutes. Like, this is celery fucking root. What? How? When? Where? Why? I think we should get our taste tester for at least for the chips. Hi, buddy. Hi. Come here, lady.
Buddy's really excited that I look like this.
Oh,
wow.
Hello. Hello, lady in a blanket. I know you probably don't want to try the fish.
Does it taste like fish?
Yes.
Yeah, I can't.
It's made of celery root, which is crazy. And I just want to show you like the texture because if you can imagine, it has like a similar.
Can I try like a bite? A little bite. Yeah, like that. Yeah, I can't do it.
You can try the chips though.
That means it tastes like fish. If I can't do it, it
Yeah.
tastes like fish. Yeah, give me a chip.
Do you want to try it with a little vinegar?
Sure.
That's how you do it.
Salt and vinegar. Yum, yum, yum.
Is that good? So you approve of the chips. at least, right?
Remember when we went to Ireland? Mm-hmm. That's what it was like.
Yeah, that's how they do it out there. Those guys, huh?
But not, they don't do vinegar, but that's what the chips taste like.
Really? It reminded you of Ireland? Mm-hmm. Well, I think we nailed it then.
Oh yeah, I could just eat a whole basket of no fish and only chips.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is no fish too. It just tastes like fish because it has.
How'd you get them like that? The potatoes.
I froze them overnight. Oh, I refrigerated them overnight. Oh. That was impressive. This turned out to be like crazy impressive with, like it looks like fish.
That's really cool.
Oh, it looks like bread fish. It has the texture of like the flaky fish.
You put beer in them?
Hmm?
Damn.
That's beer batter. Do you know we had to do it to him?
Damn.
Anyway, like.
Yeah, that looks like fish, really.
It looks like fish.
Yeah, it really does.
It's tripping me out a little bit. This reminds me of the lobster mushroom. Remember we made mushroom lobster for a lobster roll? It resembled so much the real seafood that it's like tripping me up a little bit. But I don't know. We did it. We made this out of a plant. How did we do that? Somebody's genius, not me, not my genius. I don't have enough to make this happen, but we copied it and we tried it. So if you want to give it a shot, I highly recommend. This is a fun recipe. If maybe for whatever reason you don't eat fish or you want to try this, give it a go. Bunny's chasing Jenna around because she's covered in a blanket. I don't know, get some celery root. Go get laughed at the grocery store. Do what I did. It was fun, okay? Shouts out to the folks at Goodful for making that really cool video that like popped up on my feed and kind of inspired me to just try this. That was a really cool video. And yeah, I honestly love stuff like this. So give it a shot. Go make yourself some not fish and chips. I don't know, just do it to them a little bit. I'm gonna go snack on some chips now and go door to door and see if anyone wants this. Okay, bye.